Oh, you're not talking to me now. Really? Don't you think this is a little immature?
Do you want to chat? How's your day? Are the other Eldritch horrors being nice to you?
I thought we were here to create.
You don't have to be a jerk about it.
Whatever, man. Don't you have some poor souls to torture?
Fine. But I hope for your sake, you finish those stories in time.
Speaking of, how are we doing?
We're about halfway there.
Good. Let's finish this up.
This podcast deals with disturbing subject matter. Listener discretion and headphones are advised.
It's time to open the door to your mind. Sit back and listen to true horror. But be careful of what you allow in. Because it's time to go through the fog.
I'm DarkHero, and this story's called Rewind.
When I was younger, I used to go to the video store every Friday to grab a horror movie with my parents. It's funny how back then I really took that simple pleasure for granted. I know how convenient it is to open an app on your TV that can stream whatever you want, but I really miss those days. I miss browsing through the seemingly vast collection of movies, that feeling of a videotape in my hands, and even the overpriced snacks at the counter. I've been working in a cubicle for years, with empty promises of a promotion to keep me going. I'm 40 years old and still single. With no time to go out and meet people, I'm still living alone, in a cheap one-bedroom apartment. Time marches on and I wasn't getting any younger. I suppose the stress from everything was catching up with me, which is why I felt so nostalgic after work on Friday night. I was driving home from work and my stomach started to ache. Realizing I hadn't eaten anything that day, I decided to take a quick detour through the city to grab some food. I drove past fast food place after fast food place, each one seemingly unsatisfying to me. Then, something caught my eye. The bright red lettering of a place called Movie Gallery. It was more than just a blast from the past. It hit me like a ton of bricks. I quickly took a turn and parked right at the entrance of the old building. I couldn't believe my eyes as I followed the movie posters taped to the windows towards the door. I went inside and was met with the smell, yes, the smell, of videotapes that lined the shelves. Every movie was a classic. They even had an area for video games. I felt young again as I ran through the aisles to look for a movie. I couldn't believe that this place still existed. It was just like the one I used to go to when I was a kid. I went up and down that place until I found the horror section. I ran up to my favorite VHS of Halloween, but as I reached towards it, I noticed that it wasn't my hand that grabbed the movie. The hand in front of me was smaller, much smaller, yet it moved as I willed it. Suddenly I felt something yanking at the collar of my shirt. I turned to see a man in khaki pants with a red collared shirt towering over me. He had long, greasy hair that stretched down to his shoulders, and he looked down at me with blank white eyes. The man had a smile that stretched across his face from ear to ear. "Aren't you a little young for that, boy?" The man spoke, but his smile was unmoving. He grabbed my neck and began to drag me with him, and my legs kicked, and I realized just how short they were. He exited an aisle, and I caught my reflection in the window. It was me, but a much younger me. I was shocked to find that I wasn't in my 40-year-old body, but I was in the body of my 8-year-old self. I screamed for help with all my might, my childish cries filling the space around us. The man snickered as he lifted me up and slammed me on the register counter. The glass of the counter cracked underneath me. I felt the wind get knocked out of my lungs, my yells shifting to choked coughs. The man began to make shushing noises and spoke. Shh. It's okay, boy. If you want to watch all the movies, all you have to do is stay with me. Then he pressed a long, bony finger on my chest and slid it up to my trachea. No more screaming. And he hooked his finger on the front of my shirt. He licked his lips, and I felt the blood drain from my face. Instinct was urging me to escape, so without thinking, I rolled off the counter away from him. My body crashed onto the floor, but I didn't have a second to waste thinking about the pain. I got onto my little legs and ran towards the direction of the front door. I heard a loud, guttural roar come from behind me, and when I turned, I saw the man rushing towards me on all fours like some sort of animal. No, he was a demon. I shrieked and continued to run, running as fast as I could, but he caught up to me, and I felt his long, cold fingers wrap around my ankle, and my face quickly collided to the ground. Pain shot up and down my body, and I looked to see him trying to slither over me. I kicked at his face, and I felt crunching at the bottom of my feet. He just kept on smiling at me with now bloodied teeth. I scrambled to my feet and continued to run. His voice, like nails on a chalkboard, screeched out, "Stay with me!" I was near the door, so I pushed forward, shoulder first. My skin felt the humid air outside, and I nearly fell onto the concrete outside. Outside. I was safe outside. I turned back to the building to see that it was completely abandoned, with no signs of a video rental store there at all. The building was absolutely vacant, and looked like it had been for a long time.
Through the Fog is recorded and edited by Intro and outro by Katie Kemp. For more stories, go to www.throughthefog.org. We'll be back in 2 weeks, so keep your eyes on the fog.